So I've got a couple of questions actually.
Good.
It says, so Shelley's asking, she notices that the Nordic walking also includes Pilates. I prefer just to do walking and not Pilates every morning. Is that okay? Absolutely, Shelley, it's your holiday. So, if you just want to do the Nordic walking, do whatever. I would say that's good. And Ali, you were saying, would you just have one Pilates session a day? Yes, usually it's just one Pilates session in the morning. And then obviously after the Nordic walking, you could do a bit of stretching. But anyway, I've been chatting about Nordic walking and pretending I'm an expert, Mandy. So I'll,
I apologize.
yes, technical difficulties. We're here now, which is great. So yes, so Mandy has been with Flavours, gosh, at least 10 years. She's one of our most experienced Pilates teachers, and it's all her fault that we're doing Nordic walking. And she said, I think you should do Nordic walking, Lorne. And I was like, all right, Mandy, twist my arm up my back. So tell us a bit about Nordic walking, Mandy. Why is it so good? Why should we be Nordic walking?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of people do walking anyway as a means to keep fit, to get out, all the things that we need to do to keep ourselves healthy.
Yeah.
And I came across Nordic walking. A friend of mine started to do it and she told me about it. And I have been teaching Pilates for 23 years. And she said, this is really good. So I used to do running and the old knees and all were not doing too good. So I thought, well, this would be an alternative. So it was invented in like the 1930s in Finland, and it was a means to keep the cross-country skiers fit in the summer. So if you imagine just an ordinary cross trainer that you would stand on and you move your arms and your legs, it's that, but you're out walking in the fresh air. So you use poles. I don't know whether you'll see or not, but I have a pole here. I don't know whether you can see whatever, a pole. They have a little strap on them. So that inserts into the pole. I feel like I'm on a cookery demonstration. And then you wear your strap and you then have control of the poles. So the pole propels you forward. So as you walk in your normal walking style, you push back with the pole and that propels you. So therefore you're using your whole body. Rather than normal walking, you just use your legs. You then get the rotation that you need and you get the upper body workout, which is lacking in a lot of our walking skills. So, and you're out in the fresh air, so what's not to like? And you get to meet, and it's very like Flavours because we always like to bring it back in because it's about community, meeting friends, and finding new things. And then if you like it, you join a little group, and there you're doing what you do on Flavours Holidays every week or every
Yeah.
weekday.
That's perfect. And I was just saying earlier as I was waffling before you
Sorry.
ran, the most common question we get asked is people are really concerned about, how fit do I have to be? How far are the walks?
Mhm. Well, we measure walks in time rather than mileage. It depends where we are. There will be hills involved. So I would say to somebody, can you walk for an hour, at a reasonable pace? What are you like on hills? We have got little tricks to get up hills. We can traverse like we walk up, like you do skiing. So you're just walking flatly, but you're moving up a hill. Um, you want to sort of get a bit fitter. So if you can't walk very much, we have always two people. So we have one at the back and one at the front, and I let the quicker people walk on, and then I have a very basic way to get them back is with a whistle. So when you blow the whistle, you come back so you can actually walk twice as far as somebody else. So I've had people that don't walk very much, and then by the end of the week, they're up at the front. So it's not competitive, but you do need a certain amount of fitness. So I would expect that you could walk for at least an hour, then you'd be fine.
Mhm. And have you got any of our locations that you would, because obviously you've been in Seville, you've been in
Yes.
Antalya, you've been in Puglia.
Yep.
If somebody was a complete beginner and never done any Nordic walking before, are there
Yep.
different of our venues that are more suited to others? Or
I think Granada, when we go to Andalusia, the villa is on the side of a ravine, so it's going to involve a few hills. But having said that, there is zigzagging tracks,
yeah,
so that's quite strenuous. The Seville one is amazing because you're on a farm, um, and again we walk up the fire breaks. So again, they're big, big, wide tracks, and so you're not in the forest as such. So again, you're you walk from the villa. So if you felt, oh, I just can't go on, you can turn and go back to the villa. The Puglia one, I think, is probably not as up and down hills as much, but you're along the coast. So the paths might be a little bit stony, and in some parts of Puglia, I do take you off the poles because the paths are quite narrow. But that's all good skill to learn skills. So I think they're all pretty much probably Granada. The Granada one is maybe the most strenuous because you have the ability to walk up and down a ravine, which is a
Mhm.
bit steeper. Seville, we can get you up as gentle slopes, we can get you up. And then Puglia is nice because you're on the coastal paths and they're not as direct as hills. They're
Yeah.
gentle slopes.
Yeah, stunning scenery as well. Um, I was just going to say for anybody watching us, obviously this is a webinar, so we can't see you, you can see us. But if anybody's watching it, and as Mandy's talking, if there's any questions, please just pop it in the Q&A and obviously we'll answer it as we go along. What does a typical day look like, Mandy, on a Nordic walking trip?
Well, we get up not very early. We try and not get up too early. Uh, we have Pilates to start with. So yes, for people that just want to do walking, the Pilates you can look at it as a warm up. So I will tailor the Pilates a lot to we'll be going out walking, so we'll do a lot of feet work, a lot of leg work, and obviously upper arm. So basically the whole body again. And then you'll have that Pilates, so you'll feel a bit warmed up and a bit ready to go, and then you go and have the most amazing breakfast, which has all been laid out by the host. And after breakfast, we have a bit of time. So the first day, we'll say, right, meet me in an hour, and I'll get all the poles out, all the equipment out, and we will have a little session trying poles, getting heights, because you have to have the pole with the height of your body. So they are just getting used to the different parts, the gloves, and then getting used to walking and see how we all do walk without poles and then walk with poles and just learn the technique. And it's very like if you were going to learn skiing. It's just practice. And you can all walk, hopefully. Hopefully, don't come if you can't walk, you all walk. So therefore, you're just enhancing your walking and you're using the poles. And the majority of people, I think 99.9% get on with it. And by the end, they're all quite happy with the poles. But there is always the option, because it is your holiday. So there's always the option that if you feel, look, it's confusing me, I can't do it, walk without the poles because you'll walk as quick as everybody else. So even if you think, well, it's not for me, and that is fine, then you just come walk and you can be the team photographer.
Yes, that's great. We're doing a pre-departure call for a group that are going to
Yes,
Andalusia next week, one of the other instructors was saying it's a really good idea to put your phone on a chain.
yes,
As
round
you're
your neck.
yeah, and then
And then you can just stop because you have to just take yourself out of your poles because there is a little thing where you press down and pull out, but you can keep your gloves on. So yes, you can then get access to your camera,
yeah,
but you get into the way of it. It's like everything. And we do stop for water and little snacks and all. We
yeah.
have lots of Scooby snacks in our bag.
But on average, then, how many hours would you say you'd be walking each
Well,
day?
if we're going out, say, right, we're going to go out now for a morning. So the next day we get up again, Pilates again, breakfast, and then we'll have maybe said, right, we're going to do a morning walk. So it would maybe be an hour and a half, hour, maybe 2 hours maximum, and then you come back to the villa for 1:30, have lunch, and then maybe the rest of the day's free.
Yeah.
Sometimes we go out for a bit longer, so we will say we'll bring a picnic. So
Mm,
that's why we always like you to bring a little backpack for water and picnic, and we'll maybe go and have our lunch out,
yes. Yeah,
and
exactly.
then come back in the afternoon and have some rest time and pull time and some bathing and reading a book and whatever you need.
No, that sounds perfect.
So that's great.
I've got another question for you. So Ali was
Now,
asking, do you need any special footwear?
well, the footwear, I have just brought my shoe, just that I wear. So that's what I wear. These are just Clark's, okay? But what's quite good is it's not so much the shoe. You want a bit of support, but we're not hiking, so you don't need big hiking boots unless they're what you love to wear and they're comfortable. Comfort is the thing, so don't buy them and then take them straight out. Wear them before you come. I think also just substantial trainers, as long as your grip is good. You need a good tread.
Mhm.
because there are some of the paths are sort of, stony and a
Mhm.
little bit of gritty. Um, and then sometimes you're on grass. So I would just say either substantial trainers or a walking shoe, but something that you've been used to wearing for a while. So
Yes,
that
no blisters. Yeah, I don't have your compete.
yeah.
And I was saying earlier, Mandy, actually, that the Nordic walking holidays that we have are super popular. I think they're all actually fully booked and can maybe just have Puglia. Got a couple of spaces at the end of the year. So it's been really popular. Why is it, why do you think, apart from you knew it was going to be really popular, why has Nordic walking become so popular?
Well, I think it's now getting more traction.
Mm.
I think the the councils especially in London, the councils have got people walking, Nordic walking, running groups to just get people. It's the cheapest and easiest way to keep fit.
Yeah.
And also you really get to see a place. When we're in Puglia, one of the hosts takes us out and she's very into all her herbs and things. And she says, this is a wild carrot. And you go, oh my. So you're getting to learn more about where you are and walking, what's not to like. When we go up on our tiptoes, you can see over hedges, you can see beautiful villas, you can see coastline. And I think in England now it's got a bit more traction. And as I say, I know councils and authorities now are running walks through the parks and stuff just to get people fitter. So then you start to see it more. There start to more talk about it, and with social media and Facebook and things, people are now talking about it. So it's got a lot more traction in the last 5 years. I think, dare I say, since COVID, when people wanted to go out to walk and then they found poles and it was a good excuse. And then you sort of think, well, I feel fitter from doing it with poles than I do from doing it just normal walking.
Yeah, I know it's a great benefit. Does anybody else, while we're just sort of chatting away, any other questions that you've got? I'm just conscious of time. If there's anything else we could answer. And I think if we've got any more polls, just double check. I'll check with the technical team. We've been
Oh,
asking, see who we've got and see what everyone's thinking. Oh yes, that one. What would hold you back? Yeah. So the third question we've got is what would hold you back from booking a Pilates and Nordic walking holiday? Is it the cost that you're concerned about? Is it the fitness level? Is it traveling solo? Are you worried it might be too intense? If you're not sure it'd be the right fit for you, or there's nothing holding you back, you want to book. So it's always quite interesting to see what the answers are, because again, it's just to understand what people are maybe concerned about, and if there's anything that we can help reassure that actually, yeah, you're not going to be climbing the Eiger or
no, no.
boot camp every day. Definitely not. So yeah, so what would hold you back from booking a Pilates and Nordic walking holiday? Is it the cost, the fitness level, traveling solo, worried it might be a bit too intense, not sure it's the right fit for me, or are you nothing's holding you back and you're ready to book? You'd let us know, that would be great. Do you teach Nordic walking every week, Mandy? Have you got your own group
Uh,
of?
I don't teach it every week. What I tend to do is take people out on one-to-ones because I teach Pilates a lot and there is only 24 hours in a day. So I'm quite busy with Pilates, but I use it a lot with my own clients. So I've just been out this morning with a client up on Alderley Edge, up on the edge, and just getting her up and running because she'd had a bad chest. And so it's a really, really, again, she's just learning to sort of breathe again and river's rest. And so this is helping get that up and running. Uh, so I don't teach regularly, weekly groups, but I do use it most weeks
Yeah,
in some
no,
form.
and great to get out and about. Okay, so we've got the results. So we've got a couple of concerns about fitness level,
Yeah.
not concerned about the fitness level.
Mhm.
Somebody else is not quite sure if it's quite right for me, and there's a few more actually nothing they want to book, which is great. So,
Oh, lovely.
so
Uh,
maybe if you could
well,
answer it.
fitness levels, again, it goes back to the fact is that can you walk for an hour
Yes.
anywhere, right?
On the flat, do you have to walk up a
On
hill?
the flat, well, with a little bit of a hill, and most places where you live, even out on your village or on the street or whatever, you
Yeah.
can incorporate some hills. into your walking. And it's just as a sort of getting used to it. And I have had people in the past with maybe heart problems, whatever, and we just have to take it slowly.
Yeah.
But we can do it. And I always work with what I've got,
Yes.
with what levels you are at. And I think you're also, a lot of people are surprised at actually how fit they really are, and they don't really think they're fit. Um, so I would always suggest to people that if you are thinking of going on a holiday, to just start walking and just see, right, can I walk for 20 minutes non-stop and
Mm.
come back and I'm all right? Can I walk for half an hour the next week? And build it up to an hour and think, right, well, I can walk for an hour and I'm not too puffed and
Mm.
I've walked at a reasonable speed. And I'm a wee bit sort of competitive. So I would say, right, well, I've walked round that block and it's taken me 10 minutes. So next time I walk round it, I want it to take me 9 minutes. And that's how you build up your energy and your fitness. So you have to have a reasonable that I think the bottom line is if you can walk, without stopping for 1 hour, you'll be fine.
And
And
again,
all
this
the
time of
rest
year,
is an add-on, isn't it? All the
yeah,
rest is an
it's an add.
add-on.
Yeah, and also just at this time of year, I was saying earlier, spring's coming. It's great.
Well, that's right. So now at 6 o'clock, when we were closing the curtains and getting into your pajamas, you can go out now till 7 o'clock. It
Makes such a difference,
makes
actually.
a big
Yeah,
difference. A big difference.
yeah,
So I wouldn't worry about that, and I wouldn't worry about your Pilates either. And I also say, if you wake up in the morning, you think I'm a bit stiff and whatever, you always have the option not to do it.
that's right.
Because it's
But
your holiday.
yeah,
But it's an activity that I think, I think it's great fun and it gives you a really big buzz.
yes. But equally, if you do wake up a little bit stiff in the morning, probably the best thing to do is go on a Pilates class and stretch.
Absolutely. So the Pilates class is good because what I do normally with Nordic walking is I would do a warm up before I would take anybody on a walk and I would do a cool down.
Yeah,
So you have that little bit as well.
yeah. And there was a couple of other people who weren't quite sure if a Pilates holiday, Nordic walking really was for them.
Right. Well, I think they go along like, jelly and rhubarb, because what the principles of Pilates and what we're doing with Pilates, you take it straight into Nordic walking and it's just a bit more cardiovascular and a bit more, I'm working the same principles, which is your posture, how you hold yourself. When you're held yourself up, you can then breathe better. So you're getting your blood oxygenated better. You're looking on your horizon so you can see things that you wouldn't normally see if you're looking down at the floor.
Yeah.
So all that it works together. And that's why we do the Pilates with the Nordic walking.
No, it's a great combination. See, I
It's
was
a great combination. And you do get free time and you are in beautiful villas and you will get your chance to do your reading and swimming in the pool and the food. It means you can
yeah.
eat more food.
Yes, exactly. A couple of yeah, exactly. Shushed, it's a holiday. Yeah, so Shirley was asking, yeah, dates for 2027. Yeah, they should be out. I think they are out. Shirley, I can get them through. Time for sightseeing, Ali. Yes, as Mandy said, there's all
Absolutely.
lots of sightseeing. The holidays seem to be October, November. Yeah, generally just because of the heat. When you're in Seville, you're in Andalusia. We were in Andalusia at the end of October 2 years ago, and
Yeah.
it was really hot.
Yeah.
So again, you don't want to be out walking. So we tend to
No.
focus on kind of March, April, maybe the very start of May, spring, and then again sort of October, November. And I found, I have to be honest, recently I've been in Italy and Spain in November, and actually you can get some really lovely days, really nice weather where actually it's been raining in September. By the time it gets to November, it's much more stable. So it's really just for the weather.
You can't, yeah. You don't want to be, you want to be out in the fresh air. You want to feel that it's cool. And if the sun's beating down on you, then it makes it worse. So we always, bring a hat, sun cream, all the usual. But I think it's perfect because then you're walking, so you're not just lying around feeling a bit chilly. So it's perfect time. And as we all know nowadays, you can't really worry too much about the weather any time of the year.
You never know. You never know, actually. Really.
And as Wainwright quite famously said, there's no such thing as bad weather, just the wrong clothes. So that's what we work on.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Well, I hope that's been I hope it's been really useful. Is there if there's anybody's got any sort of last minute questions, I'm conscious it's nearly past and by now you've probably all finished your coffee. If anyone's got any last minute questions, let us know. We'll be happy to answer them. Obviously, I'm in the office today with the team. Feel free to give us a call and have a chat. And as I say, I am sort of sorry that all our holidays are more or less booked for this year. It's just as I say, Mandy's idea has been very popular, but we've got some bits and pieces for 2027. But really, the idea of this webinar today was really just to answer all these questions that we often get asked, and it's going to be a really useful resource as well for anybody who can watch it back in the future and hopefully, yeah, get the answers. Because sometimes it's not just it's about making sure that you choose, the right holiday for you, and that's what we're here for. So, I think we have got one more question. It's all popping up. Ah, great, perfect. Ah, Tanya, great. Oh, Tanya's off to Andalusia actually. She's off there shortly in April. That's good. I'm glad it's been useful. Thanks for watching. Great. Any last minute top tips, Mandy? Any last?
No, I just would, in life we've got to try new experiences. So I think it's a really good, and if you've been on a Flavours holiday, Flavours look after you well. You know that you're going to, get sorted with whatever, and we do our best to just accommodate everybody.
Yeah,
So you'll be fine, and it's just a new experience, and what's not to like. And as I say, then there's always that lovely glass of Prosecco in Italy and cava in Spain when you get back from your
yeah.
walk. Fab.
Listen, thank you so much, Mandy. That's been really, really useful.
Pleasure. Well, it's lovely.